Introducing David Andrew Fung, the Fung Bros, are YouTubers, comedians, personalities that have spent so much of their career promoting and explaining Asian American culture in a positive way. They have led it for us. Make some noise for the Fung Bros!
New York City, how's everybody still doing? Thank you guys for sticking with us. I know there's a lot to say, there's a lot of opinions, and I want everybody to listen to everybody, but the most important thing is that we know that the most vulnerable people in our community are being protected. You know, there's a saying in Chinese, and I think it applies to all groups. It refers to our diaspora out of Asia and all around the globe. It says, and then we spread out across the world like dry sand in the wind. I'm gonna come back to this. Like many of you all, I'm mad, I'm frustrated. This last week, these last couple days, I cried about it. I've been through the different human emotional cycles through the past weeks, months, and years since this began. In the past few days, I've had some really angry, militant conversations. Conversely, I've also had some really broken conversations. Conversations where I felt like this violence against Asians was just an inevitable piece of the price we pay, a pre-built flaw in our game plan when we immigrated here. Being so quiet and docile and diligent, just trying to do our work and make a better life for ourselves in this beautiful, but at the same time vicious country. We get blamed for the superpower rise of China and Asia, and simultaneously the detrimental impact of COVID, while literally having absolutely nothing to do with either of those events. Which means that Asian women who are our mothers, grandmothers, sisters, aunties, they're going to be hypersexualized in Western society, media, and in real life. And then, after that, they will be blamed for being hypersexualized, targeted by everything from light stereotypes and microaggressions to being assaulted, raped, and now killed. Asian men, we feel so castrated and unwanted by society. Sometimes I think we just disengage completely and retreat to manage our small circles and enclaves or our computer screens. And when the men do get killed, nobody has anything to say. It sort of just fades away in the news. Sometimes I had conversations where I felt like Asians were going to get blamed from all sides, whether in the boardroom or in the streets. But there's still hope. You guys, in a scientific polling process, out of 1,000 samples, people only need to take 1/14 to justify a scientific sample. That's 7.1428%. The Asian American population in America is 5.6%. 6.5% if you include mixed race people. That means that 6.5%, somebody can logically justify that we scientifically do not matter in this country. If you take the 6.25% and you quantify that half those people were born overseas, English is not their first language, that means we have 3.25% of this country that is native English-speaking Asian Americans. That's the reality. And it's nothing to be ashamed about, but we spend too much time squabbling amongst ourselves, doing everything we can to distance ourselves from being a part of this weak group. But we should be proud of it. Right now is the time for us to shine and even be more on point, more vigilant, and extra loud. And maybe if we do, hate crimes against us will actually get called hate crimes. Maybe the elderly, women, poor immigrants, undocumented in high-risk situations won't get attacked. Again and again, we've got to stop it, because right now it's the most vulnerable among us, but next time it could be you or somebody you know. If you are educated, you speak English natively, you understand how the mechanisms, gears, and pulleys of this country work, then you have to do something. This cannot just be a temporary emotional outpour. We've got to shift our day-to-day behaviors every single second of every day from now on if we really want to make a consistent change in this country. On a micro, nano level, you need to protect yourself and your family. On a middle tier level, you have to protect and serve your community and connect with other communities. On a macro level, you have to think big picture, building partnerships in very big picture thinking arenas like politics or media. Listen, guys, like I already explained, they do not have to statistically, mathematically care about us, despite the demographic growth and changes that will happen in the future. I'm talking about a snapshot of right now. We have to stand up and make them care, and we've got to take pleasure in the process. I'm not saying quit your job. I'm saying double down even harder and come up in your job, because once you're higher up in your company, you can petition the company to do something and donate more funds or have more power or have more influence. We've got to build coalitions with other groups. We've got to vote. Asians have the lowest voting group rate out of any group in America. We've got to make media. We've got to organize within the community. And even if we just do these things as side projects, you know, due to your day job, you can connect the two things. I'm not asking people to do things they absolutely do not want to do. But I know that a lot of people here in this audience, they've had those ideas. But for whatever reason, maybe not enough of their friends were doing it, or they had to catch up with their favorite dramas online. You know, for whatever reason, we had to do brunch with our friends. We had to Instagram flex with food. You know what I mean? Like, we just got away from it. We have these inklings in the back of our mind that we don't act on. So listen, guys, I'm not telling you don't go to brunch, but if you go to brunch, bring a tablet. Organize something, have a real conversation, message your grandparents, message people in your community, talk to people who don't speak English if you have that ability due to the family you were raised in. Get creative with your solutions. I think everybody here needs to understand the gravity of this moment. I'm not saying there haven't been people on the ground doing things, but there has not been enough to create a critical mass. So do not let everybody who's been attacked or killed die in vain.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different purpose and skill set that they can lend to the movement. It's like the X-Men. Some people are going to be Professor Xavier. Other people, they might be more fit to be Wolverine. Listen, there's a lot of people that spoke today. There's a lot more people that are going to speak, and a lot of people are going to pitch to you potential game plans. Listen to everybody, mix and match, decide for yourself, and listen. The most important thing is you follow ideas you believe in, because then they're going to be sustainable, and they're going to continue to do them, and that's how we're going to have real sustainable change. Because we're all in this together. Back to the sand analogy, guys. We spread across this globe like dry sand in the wind, and I think it's true for Asians. It's true for a lot of other immigrant groups too. But dry sand can be dismissed, swept up, crushed without a second thought. But if the sand is wet sand, it becomes strong like a beach. If sand has neon colors, it can be layered and become beautiful and ultimately impossible to ignore. Be the wet sand.
Make some noise if you just heard my brother David. So we just got to be real that our elders and a lot of low-income immigrants are getting hurt the most from this. So whether or not you identify exactly with that group identifies with you. We come from the same place and we share the same struggle. So while we cannot bring every Asian out of poverty and every person out of poverty at this moment, we can't protect every Asian elder at this moment, because this country is violent. It's spontaneous. We have freedom of speech, freedom of guns, dangerous echo chambers. You don't even want to look at what they're reading. what you're reading is pretty different from what they're reading, trust me. So while the macro, the big picture, if you zoom out on a global scale, it looks like something that we can't affect, the hundreds of people here today. But that's why I would ask if you focus on the micro for a second. Because sometimes thinking of the macro, the big picture is so big, you're gonna be paralyzed. You can't do anything. All you want to do is repost, and you're like, I think I did something, right? I put it out there, right? Those people don't follow you. But we can all contribute. In a time of war, everybody can be a soldier, but not everybody's infantry. You don't have to be out there in the street. I know a lot of people, I know on the internet, a lot of people are saying, yo, fight back, fight back, fight back. I want to be clear on what that means. It does not mean that everybody becomes a martial arts expert all of a sudden. But you can all do something. If we all leave here trying to improve ourselves and doing one thing differently than we were before, just one thing, all of us, just one small thing. It doesn't have to be big. It could be as much as calling out your friends that you don't want to take shit from anymore and their jokes. It could be amplifying voices, organizing events, standing up for each other, telling stories, the buddy system, walking with people, helping each other actually plan, being situationally aware, and even going on Amazon and buying, you know, some legal self-defense tools for yourself on Amazon Prime. They'll come the next day. You can do that from your phone right now. So we just need to understand the situation, and we need to prepare for it. So do not apologize for pursuing a career. Do not apologize for trying to be successful. But all I ask you is, on your way up, save some more time for the community. I know a lot of the time when you're so caught up in your career, you're just focused on yourself. But you're not going to regret it. Things are complicated, and there are no simple solutions to all this. But if we all do one thing differently when we leave here today, then there will be change. So please, protect your family and protect your energy, because that's all you got. Thank you.
We got